So the Los Angeles Chargers got some very positive news this morning as Khalil Mack is only going to miss a few weeks. He was placed on the IR, which means he'll be back for the fall. I am a little bit concerned, however, with the Chargers front without Khalil Mack. When they rushed four, it was non-existent, the pressure they were applying to the Raiders. It's only four games. All four teams are certainly not Super Bowl contenders. Denver, New York, Washington, and Miami. The Chargers should pretty comfortably win those games. But I just don't know how I feel about the depth at edge. And I said this the entire offseason. When you look at who's expected to step up, of course, the lead rusher is going to be Tuli Tuipulotu. I think it's an absolute stud. Bud Dupree, Caleb Murphy, Kyle Kennard. I know you draft them in the fourth round for this reason, but I'd love to see the Chargers get aggressive and say, hey, look, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, your guys' teams are 0-2. You're not really going anywhere. I don't know if the Giants would trade Thibodeau, depending on the offer they get. They've already got Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. Do they really need him? The Chargers should get aggressive and go get an elite pass rusher to fill in for Mack. And then when Mack comes back, now all of a sudden you've got to deal with the both of them. The reason why I say this is you're off to a 2-0 start. The Chiefs are 0-2. The Broncos don't look that great. Like, they barely beat the Titans. I know that they had a close game with the Colts. The Colts were without two starting corners, though. That's why Bo Nix looked so good. But for the Bolts, this just seems like a golden opportunity. You got the Ravens, like the Bills have looked good, but this is a wide open AFC. And the Chargers, they were going to be covering a lot of ground. Kansas City, guys, has to play the Giants this Sunday night, which I think is far from a free win. And then they've got Baltimore. Very good chance the Ravens beat the Chiefs. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they did, which is three losses at the very least, maybe four if they lose to the Giants. It'd be crazy if the Chiefs started off 0-4. I just don't know how I feel about the Chargers bringing in Rashad Weaver, Clelin Ferrell. I mean, how many of you guys even know who they are? I mean, I don't know who Weaver is. I know Ferrell from the Niners. I mean, Weaver's a former Titan, fourth round pick. He's played for the Jets, Texans, Rams, kind of bounced around the league. He's got 5.5 sacks in 4 seasons. I mean, I get it's something until Matt can get back. But if you're the Chargers, you've got a golden opportunity here to use the draft capital you have, use your 2-0 start, and to make a move and to send a serious message to the rest of the NFL. Hell, even Preston Smith, guys, David Ajabo, if you guys don't want to send capital for another edge because the Chargers already have edge and they draft the one in the fourth round, like, I get all that. But there's got to be bigger names than those players, guys who are going to be able to impact the game. But specifically, I'm looking at the Miami Dolphins, and I think at the very least you give them a call and say, hey, look, what for Bradley Chubb? What for Jalen Phillips? Phillips he had 22 sacks over the first 3 years of his career. He had 70 pressures in 2022. I get that was 3 years ago. Bradley Chubb, of course, 2024 missed the entire season, but before that had 70 pressures, 11 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles. It shouldn't cost that much to be able to get those guys. I don't know if Miami would get in a fire sale. It's been 2 games. There's still 15 games remaining. But it doesn't hurt to just check in with these teams, especially, did I mention Azeez Ojulari? I don't think I did, but he's been a healthy scratch this season for the Eagles. I'd argue that outside of the obvious in Tuipulotu, that Ojulari would step in and be the second best edge rusher. He'd be healthy because he hasn't been playing. He'd be fresh to go. I just love the thought of adding that in and having a deeper edge room because the Chargers are carrying a lot of edge rushers. But how much does it matter if they're not going to step in and be able to apply pressure and get after the quarterback? Once again, when Khalil Mack went down, the Chargers were unable to rush 4. We saw them sending Derwin at the line of scrimmage and trying to blitz and to apply pressure and make Geno Smith try to push the ball down the field. And the defense was awesome. I'm not trying to say it wasn't. But I am definitely concerned with the lack of depth on the edge. It's like the opposite of the D-line. The D-line has a ton of depth, but I don't think the edge rushing room does. Like, I don't have a lot of faith in Caleb Murphy. He's a good special teams guy, but in terms of him getting after the quarterback, I just don't know how I feel about that. Kennard didn't really have like the best camp, the best preseason. He's kind of a mystery at this point. He's a rookie, don't get me wrong here. But there's got to be at least one of these names that I've talked about to where the Chargers could bring them in and have a serious discussion. And I'm hoping that in the next couple of days they do. It's a start that they brought in a couple of players because they're thinking, hey, look, why not add another guy until he gets back? I think a permanent solution at least for this season, makes the most sense versus just a rental. I don't mind at all if they want to keep their picks. They really haven't made too much of an impact so far. Like Amari Hampton, I think is going to be a stud, but he did have that fumble. He hasn't really been able to find much. I think he's a good pass protector. Now, Trey Harris, it's going to take receivers time to get out on the field. Like Keandre Limber Smith, Ronnie Gadsden, a lot of these guys aren't really making an impact anyway. Chargers are win now mode. Like last year's draft, McConkey is kind of really the only stud that they took. Ooh, and by the way, Joe Alt is certainly a name. I always forget about Joe Alt in the sense that Ladd McConkey was a second-round pick. I keep thinking he was a first-round pick because he's that good. He wasn't. The Chargers with the fifth pick took Joe Alt. Man, could you imagine if they had taken Malik Neighbors? No, they did the right thing taking Alt. But, oh, my goodness. I mean, Malik Neighbors and Ladd McConkey. But then Herbert wouldn't even have time to get them the football. But, yeah, that's kind of my point is that you need to prioritize offensive line and getting after the quarterback and things like that. But, another thing I didn't even – like I just mentioned that Mac is 34. He's not going to play forever. He's only on a one-year deal. So, yeah, I'd probably go and get Kayvon, man. Some of these guys are also on the like Ajabo, for example, is on the final year of his rookie contract. So, it's kind of a rental. Junior Collison's been injured. Tariq Still and Cam Hart, I like them a lot. Like, Cam Hart is awesome, man. I like him. There hasn't been much out of these draft classes. So if you're going to trade a pick for a stud edge rusher, I mean, why the hell not have Mac line up on one side and have the other guy line up on the other side? Like, I like that a lot. I think that'd be awesome for the Chargers. I mean, man, the best case scenario here would absolutely be Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau, Khalil Mack, and then this interior, just getting after the quarterback. Man, it just got me excited thinking about it. But I just remember the moment Mac went down, thinking to myself that the Chargers should definitely add to this edge rushing room, because the most important thing at football is literally getting after the quarterback. If you can get after the quarterback, you're going to be in a very good spot. And obviously you need a quarterback to be able to win. You need an offensive line. You got to be able to run the ball. But just when you can get after the QB and put him into a position to where he has to think quickly and get rid of the ball and not let his receivers get down the field, you're just going to be in a golden spot. And we saw, of course, it was very rarely, but when Joey Bosa was healthy and Khalil Mack, I mean, these guys were just wreaking havoc. And I'd like to see the Chargers try to get back to those days. I mean, a healthy Bosa is going to be, you can't just bring him in the trade. Like, those guys aren't available. But again, like, even like Jalen Phillips, bro, I mean, he's a guy who he can get after the QB. But, preferably you kind of want to bring in a guy who's also good against the run. I think Preston Smith makes the most sense realistically because he's a free agent, so he's available. 32 years old, maybe a little bit on the older side. But this is a guy who, from 2019 to 2024, amassed 44 sacks. He's finished with over 40 quarterback pressures in 6 of his 10 seasons in the NFL. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say in the comments. I have a feeling that majority of you are probably like, hey, we'll just kind of bring in someone solid till Matt comes back, which is probably the right way to go about it. I'm not saying to overpay for a name, but I just would love to see the Bolts make a big-time move. And you look at like the rest of the division as well, it's only gotten better. And the Chiefs are 0-2, but they're not going to stay 0-2. They're still going to compete for this division. Hell, in a month from now, we might be talking about the Chiefs being the best team in the AFC. Like, you just never know. So, yeah, if I'm the Chargers, I'm taking full advantage of what happened and understanding that, hey, look, Mac, he's on the IR. If you bring in another name, it takes a lot of pressure off of Mac to where he doesn't have to rush back and he can take his time, and that'd be good. He's 34 years old at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, like, draft picks they're important, but you have to hit on them. And I'm not saying that the Chargers haven't, but again, like, you look at a lot of the picks they've made